Hi guys, and welcome to our latest Coral Spotlight. For those of you who are here for the first time, welcome to Tidal Gardens. We are a coral farm based in Copley, Ohio, and on this channel we cover all sorts of reef aquarium topics, and in particular, videos on specific corals. With these species spotlight videos, I aim to tie together tips, tricks, and important information you should consider to help care for these corals in your home aquarium. So let's get on to today's installment, Leptastrea. Leptastrea are a relatively new species to the hobby and have never been a popular coral to mainstream reef aquarists. They are a subtle, short-tentacled encrusting coral that appeal to more veteran hobbyists that are looking for something different in their tanks. Novelty is a big thing when you've been in this hobby long enough, and tanks start to suffer from that sameness-syndrome. Sometimes a change in pace is necessary, and uncommon corals like Leptastrea are just what the doctor ordered. Here is some quick background on this coral. Prior to 2012, right around that time frame, Leptastrea were assigned to the family Faviidae, but they have since been reclassified as Scleractinia incerte sedis, which is Latin for uncertain placement. Everything sounds so much more official when spoken in a dead language. This classification change is due to the Faviidae group being reanalyzed, and it showed that it was more of a large group of corals without any kind of common ancestry that had been kind of grouped together. And now that it's being reanalyzed, it's all being separated out. Such is the nature of coral classifications, it is ever changing. Leptastrea are available as either wild colonies or aquacultured frags, and there are benefits to both, which I will get into in just a moment. They are currently imported from either Australia or from Indonesia, although frequently smaller polyps tend to show up now on soft coral colonies as hitchhikers from areas such as Vietnam. The benefit of aquacultured sources is that it's a much more robust animal. Corals grown in captivity have adapted to tank conditions and tend to survive and grow much better than recently imported corals. I personally love getting homegrown corals whenever possible. Having said that, there is an occasional perk with getting a wild colony of Leptastrea. Sometimes they have interesting hitchhikers growing in the colony, such as these blue Pagarita hermit crabs. Normally I see these in Astreopora, but occasionally I do see them in Leptastrea and Platygyra. They are a filter-feeding hermit crab that makes its permanent home in this coral. I have also seen wild colonies of Leptastrea come with these tiny clams, but unfortunately I don't have any footage of those for you. They may be a heavy filter feeder, and they just don't survive well for us. Leptastrea are large polyp stony corals, which is a little non-intuitive given their small polyp size compared to other LPS, such as single polyp monsters like Acanthophilia or Scalemia. But in terms of care, they fit right in with their LPS peers. As with many other corals, there are attractive morphs that have colorful market names. One of the most popular has to be the John Deere variety, with its emerald green rims and bright yellow/orange centers as per the John Deere logo. Others to keep an eye out for are the ice blue, purple and green, burning ember variants. It's pretty much guaranteed that once you have one Leptastrea, you'll start hunting down the other color morphs to add to your collection. They can be pretty addictive in that way. That's a bit about their background. So let's take a look at their growth and care requirements. If you're considering propagating these corals at home, they make an excellent candidate for aquaculture. Initially, they will encrust over new cuts and thinly spread out over their immediate surroundings, but given time, they will grow into larger, boulder-like shapes. If you're trying to achieve a good growth rate, then they'll benefit from regular target feeding. I recommend feeding a mixture of smaller foods, both frozen and powdered, a couple of times per week. They can more easily handle those smaller items, although don't be surprised to see one of those tiny polyps hanging onto a mysis shrimp, or a chunk of squid that it's managed to snatch from the water column. There are plenty of foods that would be suitable on the market in either dried or frozen form, depending on your preference, although in our experience, a more concentrated dry formula initiates a better feeding response. You want to find something that is zooplankton-based, and that's usually comprised of rotifers, cyclops, or copepods. When feeding, it's best to switch all the pumps off, or in some cases, they have a feed mode, and keep them off for right around 30 minutes to allow for the coral to grab and ingest the food. Having said all that, if you are not trying to intensively grow these corals, they'll do perfectly fine just grabbing small amounts of food if you prefer to broadcast feed in the entire water column. Now that we've covered feeding, let's move on to lighting. The lighting requirements for Leptastrea depend in large part on the particular color morph. Generally speaking, Leptastrea do not like direct, intense light. Their color will be the best indicator of the position they prefer, with green morphs tending to do better in a slightly higher PAR environment than the orange morphs. Leptastrea are also pretty good at letting you know that they're in too little light, as their colors will fade, or in the case of some green morphs, they'll brown out a little bit. 100 PAR would be a good final position for most aquacultured colonies, which is kind of like this moderate light level. Light shock is very much a real thing, and it's extremely important to slowly acclimate your coral to its final position to avoid stress and potential bleaching. It is far better for your coral to have too little light for a short period than too much light. On occasion, hobbyists do keep Leptastrea in a more intensely lit position, but it takes a much longer period of acclimation, slowly raising the coral to that location. In higher PAR, you will also lose one of their more appealing characteristics, and that's their fluffy appearance. When Leptastrea colonies are overexposed to light, the polyps will appear much less extended and the flesh drawn tightly to the base. A tip for acclimating coral is to take photos of the new additions at weekly intervals so you can keep track of their progress. This way, you're not relying on your memory to check if the colors are getting better or if the coral is struggling and headed in the wrong direction. Now that we know a little bit more about their lighting requirements, let's take a look at water chemistry. As with all stony corals, water chemistry is an important requirement for their long-term health. It's essential to be monitoring and maintaining your calcium, alkalinity, and magnesium levels. We like to target something close to natural seawater levels for those three parameters, but more importantly than specific numbers is stability. Large drops followed by quick increases are far more likely to negatively affect a coral than a low level that is slowly increased over a period of weeks or even months. Natural seawater levels for calcium are around 425 parts per million. Alkalinity in the wild is a little low, it's about 6-ish DKH, but we tend to shoot for a little higher, or right around 8 in our tanks. Magnesium, it's around 1350 parts per million. Again, stability is the key, more so than chasing down individual numbers. Another important aspect of water chemistry is to consider nutrient levels. In other words, phosphates and nitrates. Leptastrea do not like ultra-low nutrient conditions, especially near zero nitrate. They like it a little bit on the dirty side. So shoot for a nitrate level above 5 parts per million, but also try to keep it below 30 parts per million to avoid some of those problems associated with high nitrate. If you happen to notice your Leptastrea suddenly start to recede, check on those nutrient levels. High nutrient levels are oftentimes coming from feeding, so ensure that what is being added to your tank is actually being eaten and not being sucked directly into a filter or behind a rock to break down. I personally like to feed a lot, but excessive feeding that goes unchecked can be the start of problematic algae issues, so it's best to avoid it whenever possible. The final topic that we're going to cover in terms of coral care is water flow. Leptastrea will benefit from enough flow to keep them clean and to ensure detritus does not build up on top or around them. For this, a moderate, indirect flow pattern is probably best. You will know that the colony is getting enough flow if it's nicely puffed up and clean of detritus. So you'll also know if you're overdoing it with flow, if the water is slamming one side of the coral and it's drawn tight to the skeleton all the time. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up our talk on Leptastrea. Hopefully this video helps you out if you're looking to try it for the first time. To check out morphs of this and other corals that we're currently growing, head over to tidalgardens.com and check us out. Thanks again for watching, and as always, happy reefing.